Are Ireland back at their best? Well, it's definitely fair to say that they have most certainly improved in recent months. And for a period of time, it looked like there was a bit of a crisis going on in the Ireland rugby team. But if you look a little bit deeper at what was actually happening, the struggles made sense. There was a lot of key injuries. Players were returning from lengthy injuries and they were a bit rusty as well. Ireland didn't filter in any really inexperienced players. They didn't really filter any of those guys and those young and up and coming guys. But the coach wasn't even really included in the team. I mean, Andy Farrell was with the Lions most of the time as well. So that did make sense, but it's all changed now. It's all changed. I think this Ireland team might look a lot similar to that team that was struggling, but the energy in the squad right now is completely different. I think at the start of the Six Nations, Ireland still showed signs of the overall squad disruption, but as the tournament went on, Ireland started to get back to their best. As a neutral, there was a period where I was kind of worried for Ireland's future. It seemed like there was no young stars coming through or even getting an opportunity. It seemed like the same old Ireland team, but that's not the case anymore. I mean, if you look, Tom O'Toole, he's 27 years old and he's played really well in the Six Nations. 27 is not old for a prop. It's actually pretty young for a prop at international level. He's still got a lot of years left. Dan Sheehan, he's 27. He still has 2 World Cups left in him and he's played a lot of rugby for Ireland. Joe McCarthy, he's 25 this year and he's just entering his prime, but he's been playing for Ireland for a while as well. He's even a British and Irish Lion. Cormac Izuchukwu, he's 26 and he has a very big upside. Edwin Adogbo, 23 years old with so much potential. Dara Murray, 24 and even scored a try on his debut. He looked very comfortable. He looked very confident. Nathan Doak, only 24 years old. He's absolutely awesome. But 24 years old, I thought he was older than that. So he's still got a lot of years left as well. Tom Stewart, 25 years old, playing some of his best rugby right now, but also kind of entering those prime years. And he's going to have a lot of rugby to be played for him as well. Jack Crowley, 26, and he will be leading the team going forward in the number 10 jersey, but he's only 26 as well, so he has a lot of years left. Tommy O'Brien, 27, still a lot of years left as well, and he's a big time player in this team. Jamie Osborne, one of the most important players in this team, one of the most composed players in this team, 24 years old, which is incredible considering how he plays at international level. Robert Balakoon, 28 years old, but he still has 2 World Cups maybe in him as well. I mean, he's still young in his career. 28 is not old. I think, honestly, a winger probably now can go till 33 or 34 if they really take care of their body. So that is 10, or even more than 10, solid international level players that still have at least 2 World Cups left in them and all look really comfortable at international level. I mean, the under-20 squad right now is strong as well. They won the Triple Crown as well. There's some really good youngsters there. There's a guy who grew up in South Africa, Josh Neal. He's an awesome player as well. I expect him to come into the Ireland squad in the next few years as well. Phenomenal player. So honestly, throughout the Six Nations, some of these players made their debuts. They gained experience in big matches, and they became key leaders as well throughout the team and playing big roles in key positions going forward. If you think there's Dan Sheehan, there's Joe McCarthy who plays a key role, there's Cormac Izuchukwu, which I honestly think will play a Tide Burn role in the future as well. Then you have Jack Crowley, the literal fly half for the team, playing a very key role. Nathan Doak will definitely be a starter in the future as well. That's the 9 and 10 combination for the future right there. They have some really key players. Jamie Osborne playing fullback, a very important position in the backfield for Ireland. And they all looked really comfortable. They also looked really composed. And some players really grew into their role throughout the tournament. But also, if you look at some players that were injured and haven't returned, you look, Tide Furlong, he was injured and he returned throughout the tournament. He improved from game to game. Josh van der Fleer was injured. He came back. He also improved game to game. He ended off the tournament playing phenomenal rugby. Caelan Doris, he was injured. People were saying he's rusty. He's not at his best. But if you look at the way he ended the tournament, he ended it playing some of the best rugby I've ever seen from him. Then you have Hugo Keenan, Andrew Porter, Mac Hansen and James Lowe that have not even returned from injury yet. Yes, James Lowe returned for 1 game and he looked absolutely awesome. But obviously, I think he is also getting a bit old. But Hugo Keenan, a phenomenal player. I've seen so many people in the comments talking about how much they miss him. Andrew Porter, a player that's really missed right now. A very good scrummager, a very good player around the park for Ireland. In a very key position as well. Not available. And then, I mean, Mac Hansen, a guy that by himself literally carved up the Wallabies last year. A guy that can do man-of-the-match performances every single week at international level. So there's still some really big players coming back for Ireland. So overall, it's actually looking like a really good picture in the bigger picture. So This just shows how different of a spot this Ireland team is in right now compared to a few months ago. I think another positive is also how many players have grown into their roles with the absence of other players. I mean, Tom O'Toole playing out of his position, a completely different proposition as well. Really looks comfortable, looks happy at international level. He's playing really good rugby. Ronan Kelleher, he's been very trustworthy, very consistent as well. Nick Timoney, another guy on the bench, he's been phenomenal, playing kind of a Kwagga Smith style role for the team, and he's been exceptional. Stuart McCloskey, with the absence of Bundi Aki, has really cemented himself in the number 12 jersey. He's been excellent, maybe even for me, like tied Six Nations Player of the Year with Louis Bielbarré. He's been phenomenal. Robert Balakoon's come on leaps and bounds. Phenomenal player, game-changing player. He's going to have some really incredible tries scored throughout the next few years. Jamie Osborne. Hugo Keenan's not there. Jamie Osborne has stepped up, playing that composed role. Scored quite a few tries as well, but just looked really comfortable in the backfield. Then Tommy O'Brien, with a few injuries, comes on, has a very high work rate, and he just absolutely dominates on the field in whatever way he decides to do. He's a good ball carrier. He works well off his wing. He's good on defense, and he's just an awesome international level player. So these guys have really stepped up in the absence of those other key players, which just shows giving these guys these opportunities and letting them just find their feet in international rugby if they've proven themselves at club level. It goes a long way, and it honestly just shows how much this Ireland team has changed from a few months ago till now. The overall outlook is a completely different outlook for the team. Honestly, they did have a mixed bag of results in the Six Nations. They lost to France 36-14 in Paris and looked like, honestly, a shell of the team. They looked a shell of their former selves in that game, with a few positive glimpses in the second half of that performance. Then the next week, beating Italy 20 points to 13, where still things didn't really fully click for them. They looked good in patches and good in the second half. Same with Ireland as well. Same with the France game the week before. Then in their third match, a huge 42 points to 21 win against England at Twickenham, which was probably the real turning point for this Ireland team. Then a 27-17 win against a much improved Wales side. Yes, people will say that probably wasn't the best performance, but Ireland did a lot of good things that game, but Wales in the last few games just really stepped up and kind of found the style of rugby they're trying to play, which makes them tough to beat. Honestly, Ireland had a good win against Wales in that game. It was a much closer game than they thought it would be, but Wales really did step up. So I will be doing a video on Wales as well of how far they've come, that they are on the up, because they really are on the up right now. And finally, a 43-21 victory against Scotland. They honestly comfortably beat Scotland, and Scotland comfortably beat France the week before. So that just shows that this Ireland team really improved throughout the tournament. They gained a lot of momentum. They kind of figured out what style of rugby they tried to play. And I mean, looking at some of the top Irish performances in the Six Nations, as in the top performers, the individual performances, Jamie Osborne ended up in the top 5 tries scored with 4 tries. Tommy O'Brien and Robert Balakoon ended up in the top 10, both of them, which is really good to see some of the outside backs scoring some tries. Stuart McCloskey was 3rd in total carries in the tournament with 74 carries. Caelan Doris ended 6th in carries with 65 carries in the tournament. Not one Irish player made it in the top 10 for meters made, which is kind of understandable with the style that Ireland play. Ireland like to play in the right areas of the field. They like to attack when given the right opportunities. They don't really want to play from everywhere around the field. When you look at a France or a Scotland, they'll maybe throw the ball around inside their own quarter of the field, where Ireland actually really just prefers playing in the right areas of the field. So the meters made does make sense for me. Ireland do like to kick the ball away with an attacking mindset, to retain it and get it back, apply pressure at the breakdown, and really attack the breakdown, attack the team that they're playing against for them to make an error, to then kick to the corner if they get a penalty or get a turnover ball and really capitalize on that. So Ireland not being in the top 10 for meters made, or in having any player in the top 10, makes a lot of sense, because this team, honestly, one thing Ireland does as a team is they play really well as a team. When Ireland does click as a team, they look like one of the best teams in the world, because they actually play together. I mean, my team, South Africa, as well, is a perfect example. You won't really see that many big, huge individual performances when it comes to that stuff as well, because the team really plays well as a team. So I think this Ireland team has a similar style of DNA of playing really well as a unit. Stuart McCloskey in the top 5 in offloads with 8 offloads, tied first in try assists with 6, and second in defenders beaten with 20 defenders beaten. I mean, Stuart McCloskey is all over these individual accolades. He was absolutely awesome. This is not a good stat, this next one, but Gary Ringrose ended second overall in tackles missed with 17 tackles missed, and Joe McCarthy ended 8th with 11 tackles missed. So 8th with 11 tackles missed. So not a very good stat for both those guys, but they'll work on that. And they were honestly both had their own values that they did add to the team throughout the tournament, especially Joe McCarthy. I thought he really ended off the tournament well. Stuart McCloskey also ended tied first for dominant contacts with 18 dominant contacts throughout the tournament. Now, this is attack and defense, so he was honestly dominant on both sides of the ball. He was honestly, the one word to describe Stuart McCloskey throughout the Six Nations is dominance. He was absolutely dominant. 3 Irish players ended in the top 10 for successful tackles. 9th is Stuart McCloskey with 66 tackles. 5th, Tide Byrne with 73 tackles. And 3rd, Caelan Doris with 81 tackles. Tide Byrne and Stuart McCloskey were also tied first for the total turnovers won throughout the tournament with 8 turnovers each. Stuart McCloskey was absolutely incredible. This is why when I now choose my team for the tournament, when I choose my player, it's probably going to be between Stuart McCloskey and Louis Beale-Barry, but I'm going to have to do a bit more thinking. That video will be coming out tomorrow or maybe later today, but that's going to be a tough one because yes, Louis Beale-Barry was awesome. He set the new try scoring record, but Stuart McCloskey was just everywhere. He was absolutely awesome in everything he did. Stuart McCloskey once again in the top 3, this time for post-contact meters with 105 post-contact meters, which is a lot. Now that's the meters you make after making contact with a player, so that just shows how many times he got over the advantage line, how much he dominated on the attack. He was just awesome. And then Caelan Doris came 6th with 76 meters post-contact. Ronan Kelleher ended up with the highest tackle success for the team and 4th overall in the tournament with a 97.4% tackle success rate, which is a very high tackle success rate. I mean, Ronan Kelleher also has been a guy that's been standing out for me. He's been really good. He's been consistent, playing at a high level, really showing why he deserves to be in the team. I mean, these stats just show how incredible Stuart McCloskey's been throughout the entire competition. Yet stats don't mean everything, but these individual stats really show a lot of positives for those players. Like, I mean, Stuart McCloskey was all over the stat sheets. Caelan Doris as well. Tide Byrne was also showing up a lot, which just shows these guys are the guys that stood out on the field, so the stats just back it up. Now moving on to the team statistics. How did Ireland fare against the other teams throughout the tournament? Now, Ireland were 4th in tries scored with 20 tries scored. They were 3rd in carries with 721 carries. 2nd in offloads with 45 offloads. I think France were 1st with 77, but still 2nd is very good for Ireland. 2nd in defenders beaten with 139 defenders beaten. 2nd in missed tackles, not a very good stat, with 134. A bit of a negative statistic, that one, but they did tackle a lot though throughout the tournament. Tied 1st in line-out steals, 5th in kick meters, but Ireland kind of trusted their running ability a lot of times, and also the kicks that the Ireland did put out was mainly box kicks, mainly contestables, where other teams are literally really trying to drive teams far back, kick ball long, where Ireland really focused on the contestable kick battle, so that's why they were 5th in kick meters. It does make sense. Ireland were 1st in dominant contacts throughout the tournament, which is a very, very positive statistic. 5th in dominant tackles, 1st in successful tackles, and 2nd in box kicks, but 5th in retained kicks. So they could definitely improve overall in their aerial game, because being 2nd in box kicks but only being 5th in retained kicks is not a really good statistic. Normally you'd expect Ireland to be really good in the aerial battle, so that is definitely an area where they can do better going forward. Ireland were 1st in turnovers won as well, which is a very good statistic. 1st in post-contact meters, the only team with more than 700 meters post-contact. And they came 3rd in points scored with 146 points. So that's just a bit of the overall team stats and how they fared against the other teams. But what do these stats really tell us about these stats? What do these team stats really tell us? So there are a few things we can learn from these stats, especially where Ireland can improve going forward. Now, the key areas where Ireland can improve going forward is being able to retain their own kicks in the kicking battle, because when Ireland do retain these kicks, they become very dangerous in the transition kind of broken style play. That's where they really start to thrive. Ireland were very good in dominant carries, but not as effective with their dominant tackles, which is definitely an area that they'll look to improve going forward, especially when playing against the very physical, skillful Southern Hemisphere teams throughout the rest of the year. So I think dominant tackles is definitely an area where Ireland can improve to really slow the opposition team down. And I do think Now, some areas where Ireland were very impressive, you have to kind of see the bad and the good. Ireland were really good with the offloads, keeping the ball alive. This team has a very high overall skill set. I think this Ireland team has one of the highest overall skill sets from 1 to 23 out of any team in the world. Ireland led the dominant carries, which led to quick ball, which helps James Gibson Park be able to have an extra split second to make an extra decision, a better decision, which takes away the jackal threat as well, and overall has a positive effect throughout the entire attack for Ireland. So the Ireland having the highest dominant carries really does help with the style of play they're trying to get to. So how does a dominant carry really affect it? Dominant carry equals a clean ball, which equals crisp service for James Gibson Park, which equals a scattered defensive line, which makes easier decision making for the decision makers in the team. And with mixed good running lines that Ireland do very well, it creates a dream scenario for key decision makers such as James Gibson Park, Caelan Doris in the forwards, as well as Jack Crowley and Stuart McCloskey in the backline. So that is how the dominant carries really do affect. It creates a bit of unpredictability, opens up a lot more opportunities, and with Ireland playing the way they like to play, with some really good decision makers, it makes it life a lot easier for Caelan Doris with the likes of Joe McCarthy running a hard line outside his shoulder, with the likes of a Jack Crowley out the back. So if you do think of a perfect example was against Scotland when Jamie Osborne scored nearly under the poles. I remember Robert Balakoon, dominant carry, defensive line scattered, Ireland running their good lines, crisp service for James and Gibson Park, got it out to Caelan Doris. Caelan Doris being a key decision maker, played it out the back to Jack Crowley. Jack Crowley being another key decision maker, played the ball onto Jamie Osborne, running a very good line, scores under the post. So that's just a perfect example of how it all really unfolds for them and how the dominant carry really helps this Ireland team, where a team like England on the dominant carry recently have not been as threatening or as potent with ball in hand as the Ireland team. So that's just how it does affect it for them. And to be honest, Ireland, when they do get dominant ball, is a very dangerous team to play against. And same goes for turnovers won. Ireland are extremely dangerous off turnover ball. It is an area where this team really capitalizes. I mean, some key turnover moments I can remember were Tideburn versus England, which led to a try. Line-out steal versus Italy, which shifted the momentum to Ireland completely in the second half. I mean, before that, Italy were looking like they might beat Ireland, but that turnover really did help Ireland just swing the momentum. And as well as a few turnovers which led to other try-scoring opportunities versus Scotland as well. There was quite a few turnovers that game, which led to try-scoring opportunities. So Ireland really do well off that turnover ball. They're one of the better teams in the world when it comes to playing those opportunities in that broken play scenarios. So to answer a few questions, are Ireland back at their best? I do think Ireland are getting there. They are getting back to their best. They weren't really at their best at the start of the tournament. They were good in patches. But I think they can, honestly, going forward, maybe focus a bit more on being better for sustained periods of time throughout the game. If I think of that England game, it was such a good game for them. They played like a complete performance. Scotland as well, for 80 minutes they were good. And once they put those patches together, they become really deadly. They become really good. I mean, if Ireland actually pitched up for the entire game the way they played in patches against France, I do think it would have been a much closer game as well. Same with the Italy game. Started off really slow, sluggish. Then in the second half, capitalised on the opportunities and ended up winning the game. Wales was a bit of a tough one because Wales actually really pitched up well for that game. But Ireland did play well. Also, again, in patches. So I do think the one key emphasis for this team going forward can be for this Ireland team to really focus on playing well for more than just patches, playing well for sustained periods of time, because when they do, they dominate teams. I think England, they played very well for most of the game, dominated them. Scotland played very well for most of the game, dominated them. So that's just somewhere where I think they can improve. So that's why I don't think Ireland right now are at their very best, but they definitely are trending up towards getting back to their best and even better. They're looking a lot more energized. The squad's playing a bit of different rugby, a lot of unpredictability. I really enjoyed the way they ended the tournament from like midsection on to compare to how they started the tournament, because at the start they seemed kind of a shell of their former team. As I said, they looked like almost like they did last year, but there was reasons for that. Injuries, guys not getting opportunities, guys coming back from injuries and being rusty as well. It is a year out from a World Cup, so they do have time to really get to their best. I think in other years, Ireland right now would be at their absolute best, and then come World Cup, they would kind of fall off. But I think right now, it's probably a positive for this Ireland team that they're building up to their best, and they're probably going to peak around the World Cup time, which is a very positive sign for this team. Obviously, they'd like to be as good as they can be all the time, but it doesn't really work like that in these teams. It's very difficult for them to keep up that same level year round all the time, especially with some disruptions, some injuries, coach not being there as well. So it does make sense. There are going to be many big games and really challenging games going forward this year. I mean, Australia in Australia, New Zealand in New Zealand, South Africa later this year, Argentina later this year. There's going to be some phenomenal games. Fiji's going to be a tough one. Japan's going to be a good game to maybe give some guys some opportunities. But I'm so excited for these games. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. I cannot wait for them. I do think it's going to be a very interesting season. I do think that probably for the big games, they're going to choose their best team to try win those games. But there's going to be a few games where they can maybe give some guys more opportunities, guys that have already made their debuts, guys that maybe haven't had enough game time together. I'd like to see a full team of Irish players, maybe all in their 20s or all 28 and younger. That could be very interesting to see and very fun to see as well. But a long year ahead. I do think Ireland are trending on the up. And if you guys do enjoy the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to help the channel grow. I'm going to be doing a player ratings for the entire Ireland Six Nations, so rating every single player that played based on the entire tournament. I'll be kind of taking their scores and kind of making an average of it, and maybe changing a few things based on how I saw their tournament, how it did play out, because a guy like Joe McCarthy got a 3 or a 4 against France. I don't think that might bring his score down a bit, so I do think he had higher than that, but it's going to be awesome. That video should be coming out early next week for all of the teams as well, so stay tuned. And thank you so much for all the support from all the Ireland fans. I cannot wait for the URC now. URC starting this week. I'll be covering all the Scotland teams, all the Ireland teams, all the South African teams, probably some of the Welsh teams as well. The Italian team, so it's going to be really good. And then Champions Cup as well. It's going to be very fun, so stay tuned for that. And thank you so much for all the support. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.